Okay.
Well, hello, good evening, good afternoon, good morning. This Sunday International Big Book Workshop. I'm Dan B, recovered alcoholic. Great to see you all here. The workshop is facilitated by Kemble H. This study relies on you listening, but please we pray that you have your big book in hand and follow along with a pen, pencil, highlighter, make any notes and pause if you have to. Also, write down any questions, we'll take them at the end of the meeting. We will keep everybody muted during the workshop except for the facilitators. Any inappropriate behaviour will not be tolerated and you will be removed. This meeting is being recorded. The audio portion only is being recorded and only of the facilitators. The recording will be shut down at the end of the workshop before taking any questions in order to preserve your anonymity. So have a really good meeting, great meeting even, fabulous meeting. How we start here is the step 3 prayer found on page 63 if you care to join me. God, I offer myself to thee, to build with me and to do with me as thou wilt. Relieve me of the bondage of self that I may better do thy will. Take away my difficulties that victory over them may bear witness to those I would help of thy power, thy love, and thy way of life. May I do thy will always. Over to you. Oh, could I ask you on to mute now? Beg your pardon.
Okay. Thank you, Brother Dan. No doubt. And happy Sunday again, everybody. My name is Kemble. I'm a recovered alcoholic, and I'm grateful to see everybody here today. We're gonna dig right on into this thing today. We got some great stuff going on. But we digging off into the mind, the malady of the mind that plagues us alcoholics, because the problem of the alcoholic is centers in the mind rather than in the body. So today we'll be starting on page 32, more about alcoholism. And we're going to have 4 examples of that malady today and see the insanity of what our mind takes us through in order for us to take that darn drink. By now, we done discovered we have something wrong with our body, right? We got that allergy in our body that causes the phenomenon of craving. We can drink tremendous amounts until we pass out. That's the way it was for alcoholic of my type for many years. And I couldn't stop myself from drinking once that allergy picked up in my body. Crave for another drink, another drink. Thirsty as I drank, the more I drank, the thirstier that I got. And there was no stopping, not at all. So, but I want to hit a point and highlight here on page 44 of our big book in the first paragraph. I'm gonna touch up on a little something. It says in the preceding chapters. Now, this is be the next chapter we'll go through. We agnostics. In the preceding chapters, you have learned something of alcoholism. We hope that we have made the clear distinction between the alcoholic and the non-alcoholic. If, when you honestly want to, you find you cannot quit entirely, or if when drinking you have little control over the amount you take, you are probably alcoholic. If that be the case, you may be suffering from an illness which only a spiritual experience can conquer. No doubt about it. Also in this chapter, and we agnostics, right? AA, we don't bust nobody out, or we don't demand that somebody believe in what we believe in. But we need to find a power that's greater than ourselves, right? So the atheists in AA, they don't believe in the existence of God, but they believe in they self. See, they self is the power greater than them. But they do recover as well. Uh, and most atheists, if we look at the record, they eventually will come into some type of relationship with God. God is the power greater than me. He simply solved my problem and he keeps me sober today. So with the agnostic can go either way. Uh, Nothing is known from the agnostic the existence or the nature of God, right? He claims neither faith in God nor disbelief in God. He's sort of like right in the middle of the road, right? But we know there is no middle of the road solution here when it comes to being a real alcoholic of our type. Then we have somebody that gains faith and they believe in the power of God. The big book talks about God so many times. I can't give you the exact count right at the top of my head, but I'm sure I got it right here beside me. But anyway, we'll keep on moving. So anyway, come up with the summary. This is still part of step one. Look at this dude, Paul Walter over here. Okay, you got him. He tried to do the gigolo today. Okay, Sunday gigolo. All right. So in step one, yeah, you see, we see the powerlessness that we have over alcohol. Alcoholic of our type, we powerless over this thing because we don't have the power to keep us sober, unless we get a solution. So there is a solution though. But let me ask this right here. Can we control the amount that we drink once we take a drink? The answer for me is heck no. I could not control the amount when I crossed that line many, many years ago, drinking huge amounts, no doubt. Can I stay stopped on my own power? No, I couldn't. If I could have stopped on my own, shoot, I wouldn't have needed AA. But I was in and out of AA for over 3 decades, right? And I would leave sometime for 6 months, sometime a year at a time, thinking I had the power, thinking I was God, and I always ended up flat on my darn back again in the hospital, psych ward, jail treatment center, somewhere laying flat on my back, baffled by alcoholism. So another question we might can ask ourselves: does my experience abundantly confirm that once I put alcohol in my body, I cannot control the amount? So true. We then turn to our focus on the mind. Can I control stay and stop? No doubt. So we spend 20 pages talking about this, what we call, Bill calls the obsession of the mind. That's the malady. So, and it's incredible that this big book, put so many pages discussing this very problem. The second symptom of being a real alcoholic. It talks about the mind on page 23. uh, we talk about a mental obsession, right? I don't have the power. I don't have the choice or control. If I have a choice, why don't I just choose not to drink and never go to meetings? Because I couldn't. See, we alcoholics, we lost the power of drink long ago, and we lost the power to control this stuff when we developed this allergy in our bodies. So, look, now talking about the malady, might ask yourself, do I see? Do I have a mind? Remember the doctor told Roland Hazard he had the mind of a chronic alcoholic. He never seen one person as bad as he was recover, right? So, do we have a mind that is going to take us back to a drink? Well, in our drinking careers, yes, we probably did. I know I did. My mind used to tell me, okay, it's all right to take a drink. You'll be able to stop. I couldn't do it because I tried it so many times, and then I just gave up because shoot, I knew I wasn't gonna be able to do it, especially on my own power. So, so if we done lost power in the choice to drink, do we really have a choice whether we gonna drink or not? No, I'm gonna just tell you point blank, shoot, no, because y'all know I used to sleep with my whiskey bottle in the bed and swearing up and down I ain't gonna take a drink when I get up that morning at 5 o'clock or 4:30. Every damn night I woke up in the middle of the night, roll over, pour that whiskey down my throat before I get out of bed at 4:30, 5 o'clock. I was drunk again. And then the whole day turned into drunk. So now, check this out. I got an example I'd like to share here. So, say we got a man paralyzed. He's sitting on his couch, he paralyzed from the neck down. So he's sitting on the couch. So ask this question: does he have the power to get up off that couch and go to the door? Shoot, no, because he paralyzed. Just like alcoholism had me paralyzed. Shoot, I couldn't get to the door half the time if I wanted to, because I was too lit up. You know what I'm saying? But then about the paralyzed man, does he have any kind of control? No, he don't, because he has no movement in his body. Power is strength. So an alcoholic of our type, we need to gain access to a power greater than ourselves, which will solve our problem. And choice, talking about choices, there's a couple of reasonable options when it comes to choice. But what if two guys came in to pick this dude up? He would have power, right? They can pick him up. That's a power greater than himself because he couldn't get up on his own. Just like the alcoholic, we have to gain access to this power greater than ourselves. And this power solves our problems. But we got to gain a connection. We got to tap in to this inner resource, which we presently identify with our own conception of a power greater than ourselves. So we can ask ourselves another question. In our drinking career, do I have defense to just not drink? No, I didn't have no kind of defense because I was going to drink in any and all circumstances. Most of the time drinking before I even knew it, right? That's the insane part of it. I already knew how this stuff was going to make me and how much I was going to need to even get me started. And then no matter how many half gallons I bought, it seemed like that wasn't enough. Because next thing you know, I'm blacked out in jail, prison, jail, institutions, and all that good stuff. Couldn't control the amount that I took. So, last week we talked about conceding to my innermost self that I am alcoholic. Not what the rooms told me, right? But by doing this work, so far up to this book, up to the page where we at now, page 32. I see I have a problem, right? The problem is I suffer from an allergy of the body. The other problem is I suffer from something going on with my mind, and what's in my mind is what causes me to take that drink. People in the rooms can tell you anything. They used to tell me, oh, just shoot, if you don't pick it up and put it and pour it in your throat, you can't get drunk. 90 and 90. Meat makers make it. We already know, giving me that Burger King sobriety. All you do is do this and do that, and you can stay sober. Nope, I fail utterly every time. As soon as they told me this crap, I walk out the door and go get drunk. So we realize we got a problem, but what we gonna do about it? Well, first of all, we have to listen to ourselves. Other people will tell us all kind of crap, but we are the best investigators of our condition. We don't brand nobody else an alcoholic. We label ourselves. We diagnose ourselves. Me, I'm Kemble. I'm a recovered alcoholic. I had to diagnose myself, and I realized I need the 12 steps of Alcoholics Anonymous in order to produce the essential psychic change that gives me the power greater than me, to produce this change. I couldn't produce this change on my own. So back to page 32, and we'll get to rocking. This is a few notes and highlights I had I wanted to share with everybody. So here in the first full paragraph on page 32, we covered this last week, right? So though there is no way of proving it, we believe that early in our drinking careers, most of us could have stopped drinking. Yeah, can we picture this? Like there was some point that we could take it or leave it alone? Yeah. But then what happened, I could leave it alone for a little while, maybe a week, month, sometimes 3 months, 6 months, one time 16 months, but I was locked up in jail. But I was out of jail every day, going to work because the people wouldn't allow me to be on my job. So they made a deal with the ward to let me out every day to go to my job. And my job sat right next to the liquor store. So I had to use a little willpower, right? But we know willpower is not good enough for a real alcoholic. And we're going to be discussing that in the Man of 30 about some willpower. Willpower failed me utterly every time. But let me tell you what happened. After them 16 months, when I got out of jail, before I got across the railroad tracks, I had already had a bottle in hand, and I was here to get drunker and drunker. Boom. And that was it. Willpower didn't have no effect on me when I got out them gates that day. So, but the difficulty is that few alcoholics have enough desire to stop while there is yet still time. I didn't have no desire to stop. See, I didn't think I had a problem. It was okay for me to get drunk and fall out and cuss people out and wreak havoc everywhere I went. Couldn't see the true from the false. So, but it was at some point. Could have stopped when I had time, but I didn't want to stop. See, an alcoholic like of our type, we love to drink. We like the effect, that electric effect. that it produces from their taking even that first drink. I remember when I took my first drink at 14, I love the way this stuff made me feel. Shoot, I felt almighty. I felt all powerful. And I knew I was going to do it again because I liked the way it tasted. I liked the way it made me feel. Boom. And I didn't know this stuff was going to beat me down like it did, though. I had no idea. So, page 32, we have heard of a few instances where people who showed definite signs of alcoholism were able to stop for a long period because of an overpowering desire to do so. So here is one. A man of 30 was doing a great deal of spree drinking, right? So the man of 30, well, let me go and read this right here. The man of 30 was doing a great deal of spree drinking. He was very nervous in the morning after these bouts and quieted himself with more liquor. He was ambitious to succeed in business, but saw that he would get nowhere if he drank at all. Once he started, he had no control whatever. This is the allergy. See, he already got the allergy in his body because when he took a drink, he lost all control to even shut it off or stop. That's this allergy in our body, produced the phenomenon of craving. So he made up his mind. Remember, the problem of the alcoholic is sinners in the mind. That until he had been successful in business and had retired, he would not touch another drop. He was using his own willpower. Because you see, if he kept on drinking, he wouldn't even have a career. So he was an exceptional man. He remained bone dry for 25 years and retired at the age of 55 after a successful and happy business career. The man of 30 had made a conscious decision. But after these 25 years, this is what happened to him. He fell victim to a belief, which practically every alcoholic has, that his long period of sobriety and self-discipline had qualified him to drink as other men. Out came his carpet slippers and a bottle. In 2 months, he was in a hospital, puzzled and humiliated. 2 months. See, that's what I was talking about in my drinking career. If I stayed sober for a while, I thought I was sober long enough, I can control this alcohol now. No, and I landed flat on my back again every time. So, but the decision the man of 30 made, right, it was to resume drinking after being bone dry for all these years. And it tells you the allergy was still there after 25 years, and it's progressive because alcoholism is a progressive illness that we suffer from. So, but what happened about this guy? He had every intention on never, even us. I used to have intentions of never drinking again, but yet I still would do it. So, question is, what sort of thinking dominates an alcoholic who repeats time after time the desperate experiment of the first drink? We'll talk about that here on, I think, on page 35, the desperate experiment. So this alcoholic, once I say he uses willpower to stop drinking, when he's like 30 years old. So 25 years later, he was 55, he retired. But then, like I said, back to the bottom of page 32. Out came his carpet slippers and a bottle. In 2 months, he was in a hospital, puzzled and humiliated. Here's what we alcoholics try to do, though, right? He tried to regulate his drinking for a while. Sometimes after a long period of sobriety, even a short period of sobriety, we tend to regulate. See, I used to test myself like that. And when I get out of jail or prison or something, I said, shoot, I'm going to be able to handle this. And I could, for about a week. And after that, boom, all bets was off, right? So trying to moderate. But we know a real alcoholic, you may be able to moderate for a day, week, and that's about it in my case. And then back to the beginning. So then, gathering all his forces, he attempted to stop altogether and found he could not. See, the problem with him, screw the mind, the problem with all of us, the mind. He stayed dry for so many years, he believed he could drink like other people. But see, the idea that somehow, someday, we can drink like other people. That idea has to be smashed. But we have to smash that idea. If we still hold on to a reservation thinking, I got this, I got it. Oh, I got it. No, what we got is alcoholism, and this illness will kill our butts. So, but then again, he found out that he couldn't stop no matter how hard he had tried, because he gathered all his forces. He attempted to stop altogether, and he found that he could not. Every means of solving his problem money could buy was at his disposal. Every attempt failed. Though a robust man at retirement, he went to pieces quickly and was dead within 4 years. Dead within 4 years after working 25 years, staying bone dry. Boom. Shows the progression of alcoholism. It ain't went nowhere. The allergy's still there. And if our mind tell us, oh yeah, man, you've been sober 25 years, they take you a drink. Sure, you can handle it. I know I tested myself so many times, but I failed utterly. You start getting in car wrecks, getting DUI, start going to jail, but I still got control, right? Shit, I'm good. They only brought me to jail because they would say I was drunk. Shoot, in reality, I'd be tore up and I'd be done did something for them to come get me to take me to jail. Sometimes I couldn't even remember it half the time, but I'd be done did something to somebody, right? Something. And then I try to lie and wiggle my way out of it. Don't even remember what happened. Bam! Back in there behind them doors again. Or either back in the ambulance on the way to the psych ward, waking up like a ball and chain, straight jackets on me and all this kind of stuff. Well, where am I at? You in the crazy house, fool. This the psych ward. Okay. We'll shake it up and wake it up. Y'all let me up out of here. No, they weren't finna let me out. No doubt. So, this case contains, top page 33. This case contains a powerful lesson. Most of us have believed, right? Our belief started in the mind once again. Yeah, we believe, we alcoholics believe we can do this. We believe we can do that when it comes to drinking. Yeah. For me, I always thought I had control. Shoot. Okay. But we believe that if we remain sober for a long stretch, we could thereafter drink normally. But here's a man who at 55 years found he was just where he had left off at 30. Progressive, no doubt. The same place he left off at. See, we see he already had this allergy before he used his own willpower to finish his career. But that allergy was still there and it was still powerful. It was still going the whole time. So he seen where he had just left off. I experienced that. You know, after these little periods of sobriety I used to get, the shoot, just go back to drinking, and it was just like the same day I left off. But we have seen the truth demonstrated again and again. You know, we alcoholics, we couldn't distinguish the truth from the false. We lived in this delusion, right? A big time delusion. And that delusion, it keeps us drunk. It kept me drunk. I don't know about y'all. Once an alcoholic, always an alcoholic. Due to the allergy in our body. We can't never get rid of this allergy. The doctors ain't figured that out yet. Well, what body parts can I take out the inside of him so he won't have an allergy to alcohol? Science is not that advanced today, people. If we still got that allergy, I don't give a darn. If we stay sober 50 years, if we take a drink, we'll be right back where we left off at 50 years ago, just like this man in the book right here. Wow. Commencing to drink after a period of sobriety. We are in a short time as bad as ever. Yes, I can relate. Shoot, man, I used to come home from jail or prison, right? Happy as a jack, but oh yeah, I'm gonna control this stuff this time. Shoot, I've been locked up a while. I done learned something now. See, I done learned I can quit when I get ready. Shoot, you let me take one drink. I ain't finna quit because I can't. Darn body crying for more alcohol. I'm getting thirsty as I want. Thirsty as I drink. The more I drink, thirsty I got. See, his willpower failed. But here's a key point. If, biggest word in the big book, if we are planning to stop drinking, there must be no reservation of any kind, nor any lurking notion that someday we will be immune to alcohol. If we want to stop drinking, we cannot have no doubts at all. I don't have no doubt at all. I know I'm a darn alcoholic. That ain't none the question. No. So, and for the alcoholic, we can't stop drinking on willpower alone. So at this point, talking about this malady, we done developed that type of thinking that always leads us to the first drink. That's so true. That thought, oh yeah, I'm good. So let me give me one. That's the first drink. The first drink is the worst one. Because you ain't gonna remember the last one most of the time. I know I did. No, I'd be too drunk to remember that stuff. So we're never immune to alcohol. This disease is with us to the day we die. But we do recover from this crap, though. That's the hope in this book. That's the promise that the 12 steps offer us. Thank God for it. Because, shoot, if I hadn't got 12 steps through this thing, see, alcoholism beat me down. It beat me down so bad. As the big book states about, beat you into a state of reasonableness, right? But it beat me out of reason. That last episode I had in July 2019, flat on my back, waking up in another psych ward. The ambulance done took me out, got me off my sister back porch, and the police came. The police named Chris, a friend of mine. He said, Kim, you can go with me or you can go with these people. I said, well, who is these people? They was ambulance drivers, right? They come to rescue me. Shoot. I was so tore up and I ain't realized they even had uniforms on. You know what I'm saying? Had been into a battle with my brother, right inside my sister house. To the last debacle, I'm flat on my back again, y'all. Hour and a half ride on the ambulance. Don't even know where I'm going. I wake up in the hospital. I don't even know which hospital I'm at to the next day or two. So much alcohol would be like had in me. So, so we can't make no kind of reservations on this thing. No, if I sit my butt here today and say, well, next month I'm gonna take a drink, that'll be a darn fool. That's the insane thinking, right? See, we alcoholics, we develop this insanity. So, but I want to share something right here on page 142, while it's in my mind. When we're talking about this, no reservation of any kind. So, next to the last paragraph, it's in the paragraph to employers. Whether you mention this book is a matter for your discretion. But check this out. If he temporizes and still thinks he can ever drink again, even beer, he might as well be discharged after the next bender, which, if an alcoholic, he is almost certain to have. So we can't think about even drinking a beer, right? Because it's gonna bring that stuff back up. See, with the thought of drinking the beer, said this guy was he had a boss man. He was on the job, and he already knew if he was alcoholic, he was gonna have another bender. I can relate with that because I had so many benders in my drinking career on my job. Some days I just said bump it, I wouldn't even go. But they never fired me though. That's the thing. I don't know why not, because I told them several times, I just fire me because I don't know if I'm gonna come Friday night or not. So y'all interfere in my drinking, working every weekend like this, every Friday, Saturday, Sunday night, and everybody out partying. Shoot, I want to party too, so I started bringing my whiskey to work with me. You can see me home and let me drink. So they chose to let me drink till I almost killed my darn self. So back to page 33. Young people may be encouraged by this man's experience to think that they can stop as he did on their own willpower. But we doubt if many of them can do it, because none will really want to stop, and hardly one of them, because of the peculiar mental twist already required, will find he can win out. None will really want to stop. No, we don't want to stop drinking. We want to keep on doing what we're doing. No matter how bad this stuff done beat us down, no matter how much we drank, no matter the consequences that don't make me an alcoholic, right? But being an alcoholic, I had many, many consequences. So many consequences. You couldn't even put them in a warehouse. The biggest Macy's today, they great big old storage warehouse up in New York. The paperwork stacked that high, full of my consequences, actions I done did. So, he talks about this peculiar mental twist. This the part of the mind, the insanity part, uh, believing I can take a drink. That's the twist. That's the insane part. Mm. So back to the reading. Several of our crowd, men of 30 or less, had been drinking only a few years. Men of 30. They found themselves as helpless as those who had been drinking 20 years. So it don't matter. You can drink a day, a week, a month, or a year. At some point, we would turn alcoholic. Not everybody do that drink, right? Because I have my family members drink. They not alcoholic. They can take the stuff and leave it alone. But for an alcoholic of my type, see, I developed this allergy to this thing. They don't have no kind of allergy. They don't have that mental problem because they don't even have to have it. Sometimes liquor sit back in my house for a month. No, nobody even touch the stuff. So, and we talk about it. I said, well, I love to see y'all enjoying yourself. Shoot, because y'all know I can't. So I just cheer them on. Look, but if you ever have a problem, though, we're going to have to do somebody 12-step you or something. They all good, though. Thank God. So, no matter how long we drink, we can all find ourselves helpless. We find ourselves hopeless if we are alcoholic. So back to the paragraph. To be gravely affected, one does not necessarily have to drink a long time nor take the quantities some of us have. Talking about the quantities. I used to drink when I didn't want to. I used to drink when I didn't want to, and was drinking huge quantities. So we don't have to take a long time. I know my drinking huge quantity started within the first 2 years of me drinking. By the time I was 16, 17 years old in high school, I was out drinking everybody that I was ever around. So something was wrong, but I had no idea. I just said I had a high tolerance. Shit, I didn't know had the traits of being a real alcoholic way back then. I hadn't even went and joined the army yet, right? I was just in high school, 78, 79. I'm going out there and find the biggest drunks in town, the ones that take 6 weeks to walk down or half of a block. So I'm out there challenging them and out drinking them. I said, oh, see, y'all are weak. See, as a matter of fact, I'm the one that was weak because I couldn't control the amounts I took, right? So back to the reading. This is particularly true of women. Potential female alcoholics often turn into the real thing and are gone beyond recall in a few years. Well, they're talking about the women now. Potential female alcoholics. They can eventually turn into a real alcoholic and gone beyond recall in a few years. So we're not picking on the women here, but they suggested they put this in this book. I know some women who can drink huge amounts too, and they can really put it down. I don't judge them either. Y'all have fun, you get drunk, pass out, I'll take you home. Best I can do for you. You need a drink, I'll buy you a drink. But there's no distinction between men and women. We got men alcoholics, we got women alcoholics, blah, blah. So certain drinkers who would be greatly insulted if called alcoholics. I used to brand myself as an alcoholic when I didn't even know what an alcoholic was, right? Yeah, and people used to call me whiskey bottle, right? You alcoholic. Well, shoot, so what? Like I said, I'm a professional one. That was my excuse. I'm a professional alcoholic. Shoot. But I didn't know I had this allergy. I didn't know I had this malady. I didn't know I qualified to be a real alcoholic. As this book describes. But I will. No problem. So they would be greatly insulted if called alcoholics, but it didn't insult me. I thought it was funny at first until I see how this stuff took over my life. It wasn't so funny. The last 10 years of my drinking, the fun was gone. So they would be greatly insulted if called alcoholics and are astonished at their inability to stop. We who are familiar with the symptoms see large numbers of potential alcoholics among young people everywhere, but try to get them to see it. They're not going to see it. I remember I was at this state of being what we call now potential alcoholic, but I couldn't see it. No. So we look back. That was at some point. We all could have probably stopped. But back then, you had to want to stop, but I did not want to stop. I wanted to keep on drinking, keep on drinking. That's the only way I thought I could live my life. Yeah, that solved all my problems. But shoot, you take away the alcohol, then you're gonna have a big problem, right? That was my thought mentality. So I can't live a life without drinking alcohol. Ain't no way. Shoot, 4 years later, thank God. It's the best life I ever had without that stuff, the alcohol in my body. So as we look back, we feel we had gone on drinking many years beyond the point where we could quit on our own willpower. Well, we got these examples in the book. Our willpower is not enough. So at this point, if anyone questions whether he has entered this dangerous area, let him try leaving liquor alone for 1 year. If he is a real alcoholic and very far advanced, there is a scant chance of success. Well, check this out. If you still doubt that you are an alcoholic, just try to stop drinking for a year. If you ever become a real alcoholic, you won't be able to do it. No, I tried it. I tried what they were suggesting. And I wouldn't make it. I wouldn't even make it a month on the street. I couldn't do it. I used to feel so different when I was trying to do this on a dry drunk, right? No, I just don't feel right. And so I got to run back to that bottle in order for me to feel right. Feel like my head, I couldn't think straight. Felt like I have a headache. The only thing I was solid was a drink. So I couldn't go no year. Like I said, unless I was locked up for a year, then I could go a year. But, just out in the street, no, I could not do it. So in the early days of our drinking, we occasionally remained sober for a year or more, becoming serious drinkers again later. Though you may be able to stop for a considerable period, you may yet be a potential alcoholic. We think few to whom this book will appeal can stay dry anything like a year. Some will be drunk the day after making their resolutions, most of them within a few weeks. Yeah, that was me. That was my resolution. Shoot, I make a resolution, say for New Year's, right? I remember the year they used to make a resolution for New Year. Shoot, most of the years I remember when New Year's came. They had to remind me of some kind of resolution I made. I said, okay, I ain't gonna drink no more this year. Shoot, the same evening. Boom. As soon as I wake up, back to the bar. Boom. But the problem is, do we really want to stop at this point? So I ain't want to stop at that point. I used to just tell them lies just to get, to make everything feel all right. But for those who are unable to drink moderately, the question is how to stop altogether. We are assuming, of course, that the reader desires to stop. In Alcoholics Anonymous, they say the only requirement for drinking is a desire to stop, right? But we can desire to stop, but what's going to stop us? If we don't have that defense against that first drink, we're going to drink again. The big book tells us over and over. Matter of fact, here on page 43, it says, once more, the alcoholic at certain times has no effective mental defense against the first drink. Except in a few rare cases, neither he nor any other human being can provide such a defense. His defense must come from a higher power. So whether such a person can quit on a non-spiritual basis depends upon the extent to which he has already lost the power to choose whether he will drink or not. Well, if we alcoholics, if we done lost his power, whether to drink or not, a spiritual solution may be the only answer for us, a spiritual solution. See, we beyond human aid, right? No human power could relieve us of our alcoholism. That's one of the three pertinent ideas: A, that we were alcoholic; B, that no human power could relieve us of our alcoholism; and C, that God could and would if he were sought. But shoot, doing that, but who wants to seek God? Well, personally, I just want to seek another drink. God, if you want me to stop, you need to stop me, right? So see, first of all, in our case, we had to stop playing God, right? It didn't work, no doubt. So many of us felt that we had plenty of character. There was a tremendous urge to cease forever, yet we found it impossible, totally impossible. But with God, all things are possible. But I wanted to stop, and I wanted to stop, but I didn't really want to. So I had this urge to cease forever. Then I couldn't see down that far down the road. Shoot, how I'm gonna feel in 5 years. But without alcohol, I thought I'd be a train wreck. But I found freedom by connecting with a power greater than myself, who I call God. Thank God for what he did for us, all of us. So, yet we found it impossible. Here it is. This is the baffling feature of alcoholism, as we know it, this utter inability to leave it alone, no matter how great or necessity or the wish. The baffling feature of alcoholism. I think we see an example. Bill Wilson had this doggone this problem. We can see in his story. Bill, wow. He kept on drinking, but he did find a solution. His solution was spiritual. That's the beautiful part of it. So, how then shall we help our readers determine to their own satisfaction whether they are one of us? So by now, we learn, well, yeah, maybe I am one of these first 100 men and women. Yeah, I see I got an allergy in my body. I see there's something going on in my mind that causes me to keep drinking. Drinking when I didn't want to drink. I drank when I was sick. I drank when I was well. I drank on good days to make me feel better. On bad days, I drank to try to make myself feel good. But either way I drank, it was a way of life. Boom. Baffling feature. I could not leave it alone. If you paid me $100 million and told me I'm gonna give you this, Kim, if you can stay sober, I wouldn't have been able to do it at this point. If I drank for 42 years, I couldn't have did it. Then the book brings us a great example. The bottom paragraph here on page 34. The experiment of quitting for a period of time will be helpful, but we think we can render an even greater service to alcoholic sufferers and perhaps to the medical fraternity. Hey, so we shall describe some of the mental states that precede a relapse into drinking. But obviously, this is the crux of the problem. Some of the things talking about the thoughts that we have, the thinking that leads us to taking that first drink is the most important problem. That problem centers up here in our brains. God gave us brains to use, right? But when we have a chronic alcoholic mind, we ain't gonna use that brain. We're gonna test that brain. We'll test it. Then we're gonna test that bottle. And then we're gonna keep on drinking without a solution. So the crux of the problem is difficult. It is puzzling. It's the most important issue. So what sort of thinking dominates an alcoholic who repeats time after time the desperate experiment of that first drink? Desperate experiment. Yeah. I experimented with that crap so long. It was ridiculous. So friends, whoever reasoned with him after a spree has brought him to the point of divorce or bankruptcy are mystified or they're confused. When he walks directly into a saloon, why does he? Of what is he thinking? The malady. Yes. Reflect back here on page the page 24. The fact is that most alcoholics, for reason yet obscure, have lost the power of choice in drink. Our so-called willpower becomes practically non-existent. We are unable at certain times to bring into our consciousness with sufficient force the memory of the suffering and humiliation of even a week or a month ago. We are without defense against that first drink. So they'll be tripping. Why did he walk in that saloon? Well, without a defense, I'm gonna walk in that saloon. I'm gonna walk in there and I'm gonna get me a drink. So, boom. But then it goes on to talk about, I got a little bit more to go. Our first example is a friend we shall call Jim. No doubt. This is my buddy Jim right here, y'all. Jim, the car salesman. His name is Ralph Furlong, as a matter of fact. And he got a story in the first edition, another prodigal story by Ralph Furlong. Is on page 357. He had his last drink on June 6, 1938. So a little bit about his story. He has a charming wife and a family. He inherited a lucrative automobile agency. He had a commendable World War record. He is a good salesman. Everybody likes him. He is an intelligent man, normal so far as we can see, except for a nervous disposition. He did no drinking until he was 35. In a few years, he had become so violent when intoxicated that he had to be committed. On leaving the asylum, he came into contact with us, some members of Alcoholics Anonymous. This clown here, he didn't start drinking until he was 35. So in a few years, well, we know alcohol likes to make people violent, right? Some people are violent drunk. They love to fight. I wasn't a violent type unless I had most of the time defend myself. And that was quite a bit because I talked so much trash to people, they wanted to fight me anyway. You know, I didn't mean no harm to nobody, but I couldn't control my mouth half the time. But it didn't matter because you had to whoop me. If you did, you had to just whoop me. I didn't care. I mean, it's just, that was the insane in the membrane thinking that I had. So here go Jim. We told Jim what we knew about alcoholism and the answer we had found. So he was telling Jim about step one right here. Yeah, step one. Then it probably gave him step two as well. The answer we had found. Step two came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. So here, my buddy Jim, he made a beginning. No doubt. He made a beginning. He made that decision. Remember we talking about that conscious decision? That my man that worked for 25 years, he made a conscious decision to go ahead and take a drink after being sober for so long. And that drink led him to being dead in 4 years, right? So here, my man Jim, he made a beginning. His family was reassembled, and he began to work as a salesman for the business he had lost through drinking. It's step three. Yeah, he made a decision to turn his will and his life over to the care of God, as Jim then understood God, right? So all went well for a time. Oh yeah, Jim, remember, don't say I'm gonna stay sober. They probably do. I'll share that with you next week. So all went well for a time, but he had failed to enlarge his spiritual life. That's it right there. This solution is spiritual. He done took step 1, 2, and 3. He could have took step 4 through 12, and he'd have found a connection with God that would produce a change sufficient enough for him to recover from alcoholism. This is a spiritual way of living. The solution is spiritual. The way is spiritual, period. So it says to his consternation, he found himself drunk half a dozen times in rapid succession. See, he didn't work them other steps, right? So he soon was going right back to the bottom again. Wow. But then, check this out. On each of these occasions, we worked with him, reviewing carefully what had happened. He agreed that he was a real alcoholic and in serious condition. So he finally agreed. Now, once again, I'm an alcoholic. I got this allergy. I got this malady. I need a spiritual solution. He knew if he faced another trip to the asylum, if he kept on, moreover, he would lose his family for whom he had a deep affection. But here's what happened to him on page 36. Top of page 36, he said, yeah, he got drunk again. Okay. He got drunk again. That's what happened. If we don't have a defense against that first drink, you know, we real alcoholics, we're going to drink again. So that's what happened to Jim. He took another drink, no doubt. It happened to me so many times when I promised myself, ain't no way I'm gonna take a drink and then turn right around and take it as soon as the words come out of my mouth. Thank God for AA and the solution that they gave all of us. And God bless. Thank you, Brother Dan. Thanks everybody for being here with me on this beautiful journey that we have. God bless you and God bless the people in AA. Support, support, no doubt. But Dan, we'll close it out when you're ready.
I'll wrap it up for you. Thank you very much, sir.
Hmm?
Great one again, as always. Thank you very much for that. I've put in the chat there for you guys the audio YouTube link where this and all the others will be are already at the Keystone Big Book Discussion Facebook page. And if you need anything else, let me know after the chat. I'm just going to